Hey, I'm Melissa, 35 years old, and I used to have a picture-perfect life, at least on paper. My husband, Jack, and our daughter, Lily, were the center of my world. We were living the so-called American dream in our cozy suburban home. Jack, a smooth-talking businessman who could charm anyone, and I had been married for 12 years. Most days, it still felt like we were in that honeymoon phase. Lily, our little spark, was the spitting image of her dad, at least, that's what I thought. She's wickedly smart and has a laugh that lights up any room. Every day after school, Lily and I had our little routine. "Mom, guess what happened in science class today?" She'd ask. "What, sweetie? Did you finally turn your teacher into a frog?" I tease. "No, silly. We made volcanoes explode. It was awesome." Right on cue, Jack would usually walk in, loosening his tie. "There are my girls. What's for dinner?" A typical dad move. But lately, something felt off with him. I couldn't quite place it, but I pushed the feeling aside. We had Lily's 11th birthday to plan, and that was taking all my focus. Our social life revolved around Jack's best friend and business partner, Tom, and his wife, Sarah. The four of us were inseparable, always planning vacations together. I'll never forget that one time in Cancun when Tom got so sunburned he looked like a lobster for days. "Told you to reapply, you dummy," Sarah teased. "Yeah, laugh it up," Tom shot back. "At least I'll match the sunset in the beach photos." Life was simple then. But lately, Jack was working late more often, and when he was home, he was glued to the phone with Tom. "No, we can't move the meeting. Johnson's flying in for this," I overheard once. When I asked about it, he just brushed it off. "Just business, nothing to worry about." I could have pushed harder, but I was too busy planning the birthday bash of the year for Lily. We were going all out. Bouncy castle, magic show, the works. "Mom, can I invite everyone from my class? Even Brian?" Lily asked one night. "Even Brian? I thought he had cooties last week," I teased. "That was so last week, Mom. He shared his cookie with me. Kids and their social dynamics, right?" The night before the party, I was putting the finishing touches on the decorations when Jack finally came home. He looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot. "Rough day?" I asked, trying to keep things light. "You have no idea," he mumbled, heading straight for a drink. I wanted to press him, but Lily came bounding down the stairs, too excited to care. "Daddy, do you want to see my outfit for tomorrow?" she asked. As always, Jack's face softened. "Sure, princess. Let's see it." I pushed down the uneasy feeling in my gut. Tomorrow was Lily's day, and nothing was going to ruin it. Or so I thought. Looking back now, the signs were all there. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the distance between us. But hindsight is always 20/20ths, isn't it? That night, as I drifted off to sleep, I had no idea my perfect life was about to fall apart. The big day arrived, and our backyard looked like a carnival had exploded. Streamers everywhere, kids running around the bouncy castle, and the magician setting up near the patio. "Lily, happy birthday." Her best friend Emma squealed, handing her a glittery gift bag. "Thanks, Emma. Come on, let's go to the bouncy castle," Lily shouted, dashing off. I was busy playing hostess, making sure everything ran smoothly, but I couldn't ignore Jack's strange behavior. He was pacing, checking his phone every 2 seconds, and downing beers like water. "Hey, you okay?" I asked when I managed to catch him alone. "I'm fine," he snapped, not meeting my highs. "Just handle the party, all right?" I tried to shake it off and focus on the kids. "Who wants to see a magic trick?" I called out, guiding them toward the magician. As the afternoon wore on, Jack grew more and more agitated. He was fidgety, almost manic, and I saw him in a heated conversation with Tom in the corner. "You can't do this, man. Not now," Tom hissed. "I can't keep living this lie," Jack shot back. Before I could step in, it was time for the cake. Everyone gathered around, cameras ready. Lily's eyes sparkled as I lit the candles. "Make a wish, sweetheart," I said, smiling at her. Just as Lily took a deep breath to blow out the candles, Jack staggered forward. "Wait," he slurred. "I have something to say." My stomach dropped. "Jack, honey, maybe now's not the time." But before I could say anything, Jack cut me off. "I can't do this anymore. I'm not Lily's father." The silence that followed was deafening. Then chaos erupted. "What do you mean, Daddy?" Lily's small, confused voice broke the tension. Guests started murmuring, their kids looking around, bewildered. I stood there, frozen in shock. Jack, what are you talking about? I finally managed to ask, my voice barely above a whisper. He turned toward me, eyes blazing. Don't act innocent. You had an affair. Lily isn't mine. His words hit me like a physical blow. That's not true. I never, but Jack wasn't finished. I've got proof, a DNA test. You've been lying to me for years. Lily burst into tears and ran into the house. I tried to follow her, but I was surrounded by parents who were equally shocked and now looking for answers. I think we should leave, one mother said, gathering her confused child and hurrying toward the exit. One by one, guests started trickling out, murmuring under their breath. Can you believe it? Poor Lily. I always thought they were so perfect. I stood there in a daze, trying to make sense of Jack's accusations. An affair? A DNA test? None of it made any sense. Jack, please, let's talk about this in private, I pleaded, but he was already heading for the door. I'm done talking. I'm done with all of this. Where are you going? I called after him, panic rising in my chest. Away from you and your lies, he spat, slamming the door behind him. I stood in the middle of the half-decorated backyard, surrounded by leftover cake and discarded party favors. The sound of Lily's sobs drifted down from her room upstairs. As the weight of what had just happened started to sink in, I felt a flood of emotions. Confusion, anger, fear. How could Jack do this? Why today, of all days? And most importantly, what was I going to tell Lily? Taking a deep breath, I braced myself for the difficult conversation ahead. One thing was clear, our lives would never be the same after today. And as for Jack, he had no idea what was coming for him. Nobody messes with my child's happiness and gets away with it. The days following Lily's disastrous birthday party were a blur. I must have left 100 voicemails for Jack, each one more frantic and angry than the last. Jack, you can't just drop a bomb like that and disappear. We need to talk. But he never responded. I was going out of my mind, trying to figure out what was happening. After a sleepless night, I decided enough was enough. If Jack wouldn't give me answers, I'd find him myself. That's how I ended up in Detective Karen Lewis's office. She was tough, no nonsense, and immediately put me at ease. So you want me to look into your husband's claims? She asked, raising an eyebrow. I need to know the truth, for Lily's sake. Meanwhile, Lily was a mess. I did my best to shield her, but she wasn't a little kid anymore. Mom, why isn't Dad coming home? She'd ask, her eyes red from crying. He's dealing with some grown-up stuff, sweetie. But I promise, we'll figure this out. As I tried to comfort her, Karen was digging into Jack's so-called DNA test. It's from some sketchy lab I've never heard of, she told me. This place isn't even accredited. Their results wouldn't hold up in court. But why would Jack use a shady lab? And then it clicked. Tom. I knew he had to be involved. I cornered Tom outside his office one day. What do you know about Jack's DNA test? I demanded. He tried to brush me off, but I wasn't having it. Cut the crap, Tom. I know you're involved. Tom's face paled. Look, Melissa, I didn't want any part of this, but Jack, he was convinced you cheated on him. That's bull, and you know it. I know, but then Sarah got involved, and... Sarah? What does she have to do with this? I asked, my heart pounding. Tom's eyes widened, realizing he'd said too much. That's when the final piece of the puzzle fell into place. Oh my God, I whispered. Jack and Sarah are having an affair, aren't they? Tom's silence was all the confirmation I needed. It felt like a punch to the gut. How long? I demanded. A few months, Tom admitted, looking genuinely sorry. I'm so sorry, Melissa. I wanted to tell you, but I cut him off and drove home in a daze. Everything made sense now, the late nights, the secret phone calls, the distance between us. Jack hadn't accused me of cheating because he actually believed it. He had done it to create an escape route for himself and Sarah. When I got home, I found Lily curled up on the couch, staring at old family photos. Mom, does Dad not love us anymore? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I sat next to her and pulled her close. Oh, sweetie, your dad, he's made some really big mistakes, but none of this is your fault, okay? As I held her, trying to soothe her broken heart while my own world was falling apart, a cold determination settled over me. Jack thought he could accuse me of cheating, tried to take my daughter, and run off with Sarah. He had no idea who he was messing with. It's going to be okay, Lily. I whispered, kissing her head. Mom's going to fix this. And fix it, I would. Jack wanted to play dirty. Fine, but he was about to learn that hell hath no fury like a mother protecting her child. The gloves were coming off, and I was ready for a fight. For the next few weeks, I meticulously gathered evidence. Every late-night email, every suspicious bank transfer. I documented it all. Detective Lewis was impressed. You could put half the private investigators in this city out of business, she joked. But I wasn't laughing. I was out for blood. The annual company gala was just around the corner, the perfect stage for my grand reveal. Despite Jack's efforts to keep me away, I made sure I had an ironclad invitation. The night of the gala, I felt like a secret agent. My sleek gown concealed a small recorder, and tucked in my clutch was a USB drive containing all the evidence I had painstakingly gathered. As soon as I walked in, I spotted Jack. His arm was casually draped around Sarah's waist. The sight of them together made my blood boil. Showtime, I muttered to myself, heading toward the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, my voice steady as I took the microphone. I have an important presentation to make. Jack's head snapped up, his face turning pale. Melissa, what are you doing here? He stammered, clearly caught off guard. I ignored him and continued, my tone unwavering. Tonight, I want to talk about honesty, integrity, and the consequences of betrayal. A murmur spread through the crowd, confusion rippling across their faces. I started the slideshow, displaying emails between Jack and Sarah, along with bank statements showing suspicious transfers. What you're seeing, I said, my voice cutting through the silence, is evidence of not just an affair, but corporate embezzlement and fraud. Gasps echoed around the room. Jack lunged toward the stage, but security quickly intervened, holding him back. You can't do this, he yelled. Oh, but I can, I shot back. Just like you thought you could falsify a DNA test to deny your own daughter. The room erupted into shocked whispers. I turned to Tom, who was pale and looking for a way to disappear. Tom, I said, care to explain your role in this fraudulent DNA test? Under the pressure of hundreds of eyes on him, Tom cracked. I helped Jack set it up. The lab, it wasn't real. Chaos ensued. Security was now restraining both Jack and Sarah as they hurled accusations at each other. You said we wouldn't get caught, Sarah screamed. Me? This is your fault, Jack spat back. As they were led away, I felt a grim satisfaction. But this was far from over. The legal battle that followed was vicious, but I had the truth on my side. Jack's web of lies unraveled spectacularly in court. The judge's verdict was music to my ears. Full custody to the plaintiff, and Mr. Johnson, you will be responsible for alimony and child support. Jack's face was ashen. You can't do this to me, he begged. I smiled coldly. You did this to yourself, Jack. Jack's professional life crumbled too. He lost his job, his reputation in ruins. Sarah vanished, likely off to nurse her wounded pride in private. As for Lily and me, we needed a fresh start. Mom, where are we going? Lily asked as we packed up our house. Somewhere new, sweetie, I replied with a smile. Somewhere we can start over. We found a cute little house in a new city, just the two of us. It wasn't always easy, but we were healing. One night, as I tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at me with her big, questioning eyes. Mom, are we going to be okay? I smiled, feeling truly confident for the first time in months. Yeah, baby, we're going to be more than okay. As I closed her door that night, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Jack and his toxicity were behind us. We had been through hell, but we came out stronger on the other side. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and nobody, not Jack, not Sarah, not anyone, was going to mess with that again. The story's over, folks. But now I want to hear from you. Was Melissa justified in publicly exposing Jack's affair and fraud at the company gala, or should she have handled it privately? Does the severity of Jack's actions warrant such public humiliation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might just help someone facing a similar dilemma. And if this tale of betrayal and sweet revenge got your blood pumping, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life drama. You won't want to miss the next story, justice served cold.